Raw Life Health Show. Today we got a very special guest, Peter Ragnar. Peter, why don't you say hello to the Raw Life audience and just explain a little about who you are and what you do?
Ooh, Paul, that's, I've been sitting on a mountaintop in the southern Appalachian chain of mountains for the last 30 years, just basically working on myself, writing books, of which I have 27, and numerous courses on not only physical fitness, health, nutrition, herbology, everything to do with human development and, seeking a compassionate and excellent life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, not many people know this, probably watching, but you've been a big voice in the health movement for a very long time on your little mountaintop. You're getting this message out to the people that are serious about their health. Now, tell everybody what you do with your wild foods and just teaching people that they don't have to have all these big supplements and spend a lot of money. They can live off nature and find ways to use nature to help them heal.
You're right, Paul. And that has been a big part of the message that just seemed to grow spontaneously out of my heart. I've noticed that a lot of the things that many people consider weeds weren't weeds at all. They were absolutely nutritious vegetables growing wild that you didn't even have to worry about the bugs. They didn't have to be sprayed. They didn't have to be cultivated. All that was required was that you simply tuned in to where they were and blessed them, and they blessed you. And that was one of the reasons I wrote the book Alive and Well with Wild Foods. Not only is it a survival guide in times of crisis, but it's a nutritional banquet of the highest value that charges our life with the life force that we all require.
Well, I know that, the only food that's better than growing our own food is the wild edible herbs that are in nature. And you talk about the survival times, which seems like more and more it's coming soon. So I want to encourage people to get this book, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But a lot of my crowd is interested in a raw food diet, so explain people your history of how you learned about it, and are you 100% raw? Why don't you tell people a little about that?
Okay, well, it's something that we naturally gravitate toward. It's pretty much our natural diet. However, with that being said, I have been, basically high raw for the last, let's say, 60 years at least. And, there's been times through that time period where I have experimented with other types of diet. I've added, in periods of time, I added raw goat's milk, raw eggs, and a few things like that. Though at presently I don't consume those, but I find that when you do the most amount of good and the least amount of harm, and you stop making food a religion, you allow it to serve you, you will automatically be gravitating toward the foods that are best for you, and that's what I do. Organic, fresh, raw. Some things I use that are not raw. But all in all, I'm not looking for gold stars. I'm looking for results.
And how long, so you're on a vegan diet right now?
Yes.
And how long was it ago when you first heard of the raw food diet and you started to noticing you were gravitating towards something that was really becoming like a movement in this country?
Well, that's funny, Paul. I didn't know anybody else who was eating raw foods when I started eating raw foods. Actually, I can go back to the point in time when I first became a vegetarian. I didn't know a single other vegetarian. But I did these things because it just seemed like a natural thing for me to do. It is my preference. Those became food preferences, and the healthier I became, the more I wanted more healthier, vibrant foods, foods that infuse my body with life. And I've been doing this, I don't know how many decades, uh, most of my life. So it's an exciting adventure. I get really enthused about that, and especially from the standpoint that I love growing my own foods. And I think one of the things people forget when they talk about the value of food, sometimes we neglect the freshness of the food. I mean, people, you can take carrot juice, juice that carrot juice, put it in the refrigerator, and the next day you look at it and what has happened? It's all congealed down in the bottom. It's not the same food as it was when it was fresh. And it's the same thing you can buy a store-bought organic tomato that's been shipped in from who knows where, or go pick one right from your own garden. There's a world of difference, and there's a world of difference in the vibration. And I think the vibration is everything.
Now, what got you into this? Did you have an illness, or did somebody tell you about eating healthy? What got you into eating healthy?
No, I don't ever get sick. I can't ever remember being sick. I have no ailments. It just seemed to be a natural way of living. There was a time, let's see, if I can go back in the early 1960s, I remember meeting a woman. Actually, I stayed at her home for a while as a long-term guest, and she was in her 80s at the time. And she was into all of these organic foods. She grew a garden. But I can remember this 80-plus-year-old lady doing headstands in her living room. And she would hang from her apple tree she had in the backyard and swing. And I thought, the most amazing woman. I mean, she really impressed me. And she says, now, you're a youngster right now. You're a young whippersnapper. If you do the things that I'm doing, and you start doing them when you're doing it at this age, and I was, right around 20 years old at the time, and she said, you'll be as vibrant as I am when you're in your 80s and 90s or whatever, however long you choose to live. And so I was very impressed with that, and never forgot those lessons.
Well, what are some of the things that she was actually doing, and do you know how old she actually lived to?
I'm not sure because I moved around the country, lost track of her, but I know she lived. This is a long time ago. She lived to a ripe age, but we have. I have a little bit of a different philosophy than a lot of folks. I don't believe that time is toxic. I don't believe that age can kill you. I think that only our habits will kill us. And I believe that we can live as long as we choose to live. Actually, that was the title of a book that I wrote in 1982. I began writing this book called How Long Do You Choose to Live? A Question of a Lifetime. And I thought, this is pretty outrageous to think that you have the power to keep yourself youthful and vibrant. And I said, okay, what if I'm wrong? Well, if I'm wrong and I've added 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 more years to my life, look at all the things I can accomplish. Look at all the people I can inspire and motivate and hopefully set an example for. So I got pretty excited about all this stuff, Paul.
Is there anything you remember that this lady actually did that impressed you that you've done over the years yourself?
Well, just basically the focus on raw, fresh, organic foods. And not that she was 100% raw, but everything that she ate was pretty much out of the garden, and it was fresh. And she impressed upon me the need for freshness in foods.
Yes. And so tell us about what your actual philosophy is when it comes to diet, because when it comes to, even though you're not on an all-raw diet, when it comes to raw foods, there's so many different people doing it different ways today, and you have so much experience. Is there one way you found to be best for most people, or do you think it should be individualized?
Well, Paul, there's so many arguments about the right way, and the way I have found for myself is the right way for me. There's your truth, there's my truth, but there is no the truth. It really it comes down to tweaking your own diet and what is natural. Your body's going to tell you what you need. It's just like muscle testing or behavioral kinesiology. Two people can take the same, let's say, supplement or even a vegetable or a fruit and muscle test it. And one person will test strong, the other person will not test strong on it. And so in that way, a lot of things are very individualized. While, yes, I believe that the natural diet goes along with our physiology, and there's a lot of arguments about hygiene and other aspects of how the human body operates in contrast to animal bodies. But nonetheless, the differences really are not that great. Raw, high raw, healthy, organic, fresh, and having a peace of mind that where you're not making issues about every stinking thing that's tearing the human family apart. Just love one another, love yourself, love the ground, love the earth, bless everything you touch, bless everyone you meet, and you live a long and happy life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.